While cycling home from work, Sarah Wilson saw something that nearly stopped her heart. A five-car chain reaction crash, glass everywhere, at least 8 people injured. The moment she parked her bicycle, a police officer next to her said, "Ma'am, please stay at a safe distance." But Sarah was already pulling out her medical bag because those sounds weren't foreign to her. And in the next 30 minutes, everyone at the crash site would learn who Sarah Wilson really was. Because some people are ready to save lives even while cycling home. Welcome to Hidden Legends. Before we continue with this powerful story, tell us in the comments which city you're watching from today. And if you believe stories like this deserve to be told, hit that subscribe button. Sarah Wilson was the perfect paramedic. At 35, she'd been working at Chicago Emergency Medical Services for 3 years. Her long blonde hair flowing in the wind after work, she was a professional who completed every shift flawlessly. Her colleagues found confidence in her calm approach. But Sarah was different. Her equipment checks had military precision. Her emergency interventions came from much deeper knowledge. "How do you diagnose so quickly?" they'd ask. "Experience," Sarah would say. Her colleagues were puzzled. "We're ambulance crew, Sarah, not special forces." Sarah would smile and wouldn't answer, because that experience came from very different places. Sarah Wilson had joined the Navy at 20. Getting selected for Navy SEALs was nearly impossible. Only 1% could pass Bud S. During 6 months of training, Sarah had pushed beyond her physical and mental limits. But every day she thought about her father. She'd started as a combat medic, then completed advanced tactical medicine. Underwater rescue, multiple trauma management, field surgery. All became Sarah's expertise. For 14 years she'd served worldwide, managing over 200 rescue operations. In each one, she heard her father's voice. Never leave anyone behind. Her biggest operation was in Somalia, 150 civilians trapped in flood disaster. During a 36-hour operation, Sarah never stopped. When she extracted the last person, she was exhausted but smiling. In 2020, memories of that operation began overwhelming her. Constant water sounds, panic attacks, hypervigilance. After a PTSD diagnosis, she was discharged and became a civilian paramedic. Same mission, different environment. But the transition wasn't easy. Sarah's SEALs training wasn't just basic. After Bud S, she'd completed advanced combat medicine, the most elite medical program. "A SEAL must be multi-purpose," said Instructor Master Chief Rodriguez. "Combat medic, diver, paratrooper, you're a life-saving specialist." The toughest part of her training was multiple casualty scenarios. Mass casualties in war zones, maximum impact with minimal equipment, underwater rescue combinations. Sarah was the best in her class at these. Tactical medicine was especially tough. Field surgery, structural analysis, emergency response coordination. Instead of, "How do you save a life?" the question was, "How many lives can you save?" Multiple casualty rescue, improvised medical tools, limited time operations. Her most critical skill, trauma triage and multi-patient coordination. This training would be very useful on the highway. Throughout 18 months of training, Sarah never gave up. On graduation day, her family's eyes showed pride, but she carried her father's photo. Sarah had finished her normal shift. 6:30 p.m., cycling home from Chicago EMS station. Her long blonde hair was flowing in the wind. Sarah was organizing emergency medical supplies in her bicycle bag. Routine end of shift. Successful day. Normal Friday evening. Traffic was heavy on Lakeshore Drive, but Sarah rode safely on the side path. It had been a long day, but satisfying. But Sarah had noticed unusual activity in radio traffic. Multiple emergency unit mobilization, increased dispatch frequency, subtle tension. Then she saw it. Lakeshore Drive near North Side. Chain reaction crash between truck and 4 cars. Horrific scene. Sarah stopped her bicycle, assessed the situation. 5 vehicles involved, 8 people injured, at least 3 critical. Glass everywhere, motor oil leaking. "Ma'am, please stay at a safe distance," said arriving police officer Johnson. But Sarah was already pulling medical supplies from her bicycle bag, equipment she'd carried every day for 14 years. "I'm a paramedic, Jim. I can help." Ambulance is on the way, 20 minutes. Sarah looked at the injured. We don't have 20 minutes. As Sarah walked toward the crash site, her SEALs training kicked in. In her mind, that disaster in Somalia came alive. Same determination, same composure. Sarah approached the first victim. Truck driver, 50s, chest trauma, difficulty breathing. "Sir, can you hear me? I'm Sarah, a paramedic. I'm going to help you." The driver was a man in his 50s, fear in his eyes. "I can't breathe. Chest pain. Am I going to die?" Sarah quickly assessed. Chest wall asymmetry, possible rib fractures, potential internal bleeding. "No, you're not going to die. I'm going to fix your breathing," Sarah said, placing her hands on the patient's chest. She evaluated the degree of rib fractures. SEALs, field medicine kicked in. Risk of tension pneumothorax, emergency intervention needed. She pulled an advanced airway kit from her bicycle bag. This equipment wouldn't normally be in a paramedic bag. "Try to take deep breaths. I'm giving you oxygen," Sarah said while establishing IV access. "How is this possible?" "You were cycling. Where did this equipment come from?" "I'm always prepared," Sarah said. 10 minutes later, the truck driver's breathing improved. Sarah checked oxygen saturation, stabilized vital signs. Officer Johnson couldn't believe it. "This is professional-level intervention. How... The second victim was more critical. Mother in her 30s, trapped in front seat, unconscious. When Sarah approached, she heard a child's voice, "Mom, Mom, don't sleep." This tore at Sarah's heart. The most important rule she'd learned in SEALs: save children and mothers first. "Hello, sweetheart. I'm Sarah. I'm going to wake up Mommy, okay?" she called to the frightened 6-year-old in the back seat. "Why is Mommy sleeping?" "She's just resting. I'm going to wake her up." Sarah quickly assessed the mother. Head trauma, possible concussion, pulse weak but regular. She pulled a cervical collar from her bicycle bag. This also wasn't normal paramedic equipment. "Risk of neck injury. I need to move her very carefully," she murmured. SEAL's spinal immobilization training kicked in. Sarah set up an improvised stabilization system to safely extract the mother from the car. 15 minutes later, the mother opened her eyes. "My daughter, Emma... Emma's here, safe. You're safe too." The mother held Sarah's hands. "You're an angel. Where did you come from?" "Just passing by," Sarah said. The third car had the most critical situation. Elderly couple, both in their 70s, man having heart attack, woman showing signs of internal bleeding. "Chest pain, left arm numbness," the elderly man said, struggling to breathe. "Dorothy. Help Dorothy." Sarah quickly checked the woman. Abdominal rigidity, possible spleen injury. The man showed clear heart attack symptoms. This was a dual emergency. Sarah knew from SEALs training, save the most critical first, but don't lose either. "Officer Johnson, when will the ambulance arrive?" she asked. 10 more minutes." "Not enough. They both need emergency intervention." Sarah pulled a cardiac medication kit from her bicycle bag. This definitely wasn't normal. While giving emergency heart medication to the elderly man, she simultaneously monitored his wife's vital signs. Where did these medications come from? "These are prescription medicines," Officer Johnson said. "I'm a licensed paramedic. I have authorization for these situations." But the real authorization came from SEALs. The fourth and fifth victims were in the same car. 2 young men, probably college students, both orthopedic injuries but stable. Sarah quickly triaged. These 2 could wait. The other 3 were more critical. "I'll get to you too, boys. I'm stabilizing the more severely injured first." "Okay, sis, you know best." Sarah's triage skills were perfect. 14 years of SEALs experience was tailor-made for such situations. Sarah was now coordinating 8 victims simultaneously. Officer Johnson tried to help but couldn't match Sarah's level. "Which patient should we see first?" Johnson asked. "Heart patient most critical, then internal bleeding, then chest trauma," Sarah said automatically. This prioritization came from SEALs, multiple casualty training. Ambulances began arriving. The first paramedic team was shocked at the scene. "Ma'am, who performed these interventions?" "I did," Sarah said calmly. "Who are you?" "This is professional-level coordination," Officer Johnson answered. "A cycling citizen." She said she's a paramedic. Paramedic Chief Marcus looked at her. "Which service do you work for?" Chicago EMS, Sarah said. I don't know you at Chicago EMS, and this equipment. Sarah hesitated. Time to break the secrecy. 14 years Navy SEALs, combat medic, now civilian paramedic. Complete silence. Naval Special Warfare Command? Paramedic Marcus said in amazement. That explains everything. Officer Johnson couldn't believe it. We thought you were just a cycling woman. I am, but also an elite military medic, Marcus completed. These interventions are textbook perfect. At Chicago Medical Center, 8 patients were under treatment. Sarah wanted to check on each one. Truck driver Billy's chest surgery was successful. Young mother Linda's condition was stable. Elderly couple Robert and Dorothy had survived their heart attacks. Nurse Sarah, little Emma said from her hospital room, you really saved Mommy. You're a real superhero. Sarah sat next to Emma. No, sweetheart. I just did my job. Real heroes are strong people like your mom. When I grow up, I want to be like you. Then you'll have to work very hard. But first, watch Mommy get better, okay? Dr. Martinez, head of emergency services, wanted to speak with Sarah. Ma'am, without your intervention, we would have lost at least 3 people. This is professional combat medicine level. Thank you, doctor. I just used my training. What training gives such skills? They don't even teach this in medical school. Sarah told the truth. 14 years Navy SEALs. Combat medicine. Dr. Martinez was amazed. You're a real elite warrior. Sarah's former SEALs teammates began getting word. The first message came from Master Chief Rodriguez. Wilson, saw you on the news. Still saving lives, still a badass. Hoo-yah. The most emotional message came from David. David was the father of one of the 150 people Sarah had saved in the Somalia operation. Sarah, my son never forgot you. He's a doctor now, says he wants to save people like you did. Thank you for giving me my boy back. That evening, Sarah's phone received 63 messages. Former teammates, commanders, people from the Pentagon. They all said the same thing. Once a SEAL, always a SEAL. Sarah's story isn't just about heroism. It's about the evolution of service spirit, the peaceful application of warrior skills. From Navy SEALs to civilian paramedic, from combat medicine to street EMS, from tactical response to compassionate care, always serving. Military taught life-saving, civilian EMS taught healing. The community taught that both skills are valuable. Highway crash survivors say this when they see Sarah. Real warriors don't stop fighting. They find new battles worth fighting. Sarah's courage that day was the civilian application of Navy SEALs training, military expertise applied in emergency medicine. I'm no longer a warrior, but the service spirit never ends. Service continues. Mission changes. Sarah Wilson still works at Chicago EMS, still cycles home on the same routes. But now her colleagues know the story of the equipment in her bag. Recently, Jessica had asked, Sarah, do you ever regret leaving your elite military career? Sarah had answered while parking her bicycle. For 14 years, I protected the world as a SEAL. Now, I protect Chicago. Same mission, different uniform. That evening, she passed the same route again, Lakeshore Drive near North Side. Now there were flowers there, left by families. Sarah stopped, paid her respects. She checked her bicycle bag. Advanced medical equipment was still there, ready for the next emergency. Because real heroes change uniforms, but missions never end. Sarah Wilson was ready to save lives even while cycling home. So I ask you, have you ever encountered someone like this? People who appear ordinary but have extraordinary skills? Warriors with hidden elite backgrounds who emerge in critical moments? Share your experiences in the comments, because at Hidden Legends, we believe the greatest heroes are often found in the most ordinary places. If this story moved you, share it, subscribe, and to help these important veteran stories continue. See you in the next legend. And remember, next time you see someone cycling, they might be someone much more extraordinary than they appear. Real heroes pedal through life quietly, ready to save lives when destiny calls.